Welcome to another episode of the I Work in Sports live interview. This is the show where we talk to accomplished sport business professionals who come here to share their knowledge, their experience, tips and advice in order to help you succeed in your career. If we're just meeting, my name is João Frigerio, and I want to say a big thank you for you to be here with us today. If you're coming back, you know the drill. I always ask you to let me know where you're watching from. This is really cool. And obviously, if you're not coming back, this is your first time, please do the same as well. Introduce yourself, say hi, and let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'd like to ask you to hit that like button as well. That helps this type of content to get to other people that might be very interested in it. Just one thing, this is a special episode. I'll tell you more about in a second. I have a special guest, but this is also special because it is brought to you by the FIFA Master, first sponsor of the event, in fact, of the show. In fact, the FIFA Master has been a gold I Work in Sports since its beginning. It confirmed as well that it's going to be with us again next year, right? And they have just they won here the prize of the best masters in Europe for the 12th time. And if you can see here in this QR code, they also just opened applications for the FIFA Masters and last only 2 months. So you have a short window of time for you to, if you're interested in applying for the Masters. It just opened this week, first week of January. So if you follow that link, either via the QR code or there's a link in the description of the video as well, you can go and get more information about what is needed for you to go and do the Masters. And this is a quite interesting one because my guest also did the FIFA Master. You know that I did that many years ago. It was super important for my career. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in 1 second. Now, let me introduce my guest today. So this is, I have the pleasure to welcome Leonardo Rossi, Italian. He's a very good friend of mine, a talented footballer too. But this is not why he is here today. He is here because he is the head of football real estate revenue at Como 1907, a club that was recently promoted to Serie A in Italy. So we're going to talk about the importance of this new area in football, right? Real estate revenue, about the learnings in his career, and much, much more. So let me invite Leo to join me right after this. There he is. Ciao, Leo. Welcome. How are you?
Ciao, Joao. Thanks for the introduction.
Great. I thought there was a small delay there that you're muted. Can you hear me well?
Now I hear you. Can you hear me?
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Leo, I think there's a lot of things for us to talk about today. And as I do in every interview that I have here is really about career, right? We're going to ask you to start telling us a bit about your own career. So maybe from what you studied at university, how you started working in football, and so on and so forth. And man, you have a tie. I feel very underdressed, but apologies for that. So I hope
only for you.
That's okay. All right. Yeah, please tell us a little bit about your career, how you started working in sport.
Yeah, thanks again for having me here. And I think that the best way to present myself is basically talking about the way that kind of helped me out to reach my dream job, which is working in football. So starting from a degree in economics in 2002, so many years ago, actually, and nothing really related to football, just economics. But to give you an idea of my passion, I wrote a thesis about football, of course, and TV rights and how this relationship about TV rights and football could have been improved many years ago. And then after this degree, I tried basically to find a job, to find a spot in Italian football. But at the end of the day, I ended up in a company, in a mechanical company in my hometown, which is Modena, and related to Formula One, basically, because this company was producing and supplying basically mechanical parts for F1 teams. So I started to feel, how was working in a sports-related environment, even not directly, but kinda. And after 3 years there, I realized that probably I should have followed a bit more my dream, my desire, that was working in football. Because I remember one time that, working in F1, more or less, you have, especially in Italy, when there are the Grand Prix in Monza and at the time Imola, basically I was trading, ticket for football, Juventus, instead of ticket for Formula One. So yeah, then was clear to me that I should have followed a little bit more my dream, so football. And then, like the idea to apply for a sport course. And of course, at that time, even though FIFA Master wasn't awarded year after year, like these 10 years or 12 years, if I remember well, top ranked course in Europe, at the time was pretty famous as well. And I remember I was the only Italian, me and another girl from that edition, 2007, 2008, actually, we're talking about. And I applied. Basically, I gave up with everything that I was into. So my career, as you mentioned, as a football player, like on an amateur level, and my job, my previous job, and then I started this. I mean, for me, like this amazing path through, that FIFA Master before, and then my sports, let's say, career. But that year, as you mentioned before, that experience was really key for me, for my also personal growth, because, dealing and talking with 20 people coming from all different countries within the world was like amazing. Like, was the best, one of the best years that I've spent in my whole life. So really an amazing.
We're gonna talk a little bit more about that later, but specifically about your experience in the Masters.
Yeah, and then after this year, I tried again to work in football, but at that time with a different background. So another important milestone that I wanted to share with you, with all of you that are listening to this podcast, is that I basically realized my dream thanks to a colleague of the master in 2008, that basically gave me this tip about a potential job in football in Italy without telling me nothing more about that. But I, very enthusiastic, I decided, to follow his tip, and I started the interviews. And after a while, I realized that the club that I was supposed to work for was Juventus. That actually is my club. I mean, I'm a fan, and it was kind of, imagine myself in that age, having this opportunity to join the Juventus family. And yeah, it was like really a dream came true. And it was, if I remember well, was 2009 when I started there, and with the project of the new stadium. So I've always been passionate about football, but I remember when I was a kid and my dad brought me to the game, actually to the Modena game, because my hometown is Modena, as I told you before. And the first game that he brought me in was a Modena Napoli, Italy Cup match. I think it was 1984. And Maradona was playing, actually was on the bench. But yeah, my first match live was with Maradona. So then, I should have started to think about that properly, that probably football is my dream, is my passion. So, and
And you didn't change teams, so you're still supporting Juventus, not Napoli.
no, yeah, well, actually, after years and years in the football world, I support the club that I'm working, and it's very natural. I mean, I'm not, even though I'm Italian, I try, to maximize, also the opportunity that came from the football world. But really, when you work in a football team, then you became 100% part of the passion of the sports sector and the corporate area. So you become a fan. It happened in Juventus, it was natural because, again, it was my club. But then in AS Roma, then I will talk about later. But dealing with AS Roma fans was like one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. Was amazing, like fantastic. And here in Como as well. So yeah, now I am a Como fan. But at the time, starting with this amazing project of Juventus Stadium was a dream. So my role at the time was basically a sales manager, and I was dealing with the corporate hospitality packages, selling 2 years in advance for the opening of that stadium that happened in 2011. So we had 2 years where basically we were supposed to sell around 4,000 seats. And well, you can say that the challenge wasn't that tough because we were talking about Juventus, we were talking about top club. But thinking about that period, Juventus was just promoted from Serie B after the scandal, and that years 2009, 2010, the club was 7th at the end of the season, so it was not right, like the gold period of Juventus. So it was really challenging, especially because in Italy nothing were made before about private stadium, let's say, or stadium owned by a club. Just Reggiana, that was the first forerunner case in 1994, if I remember well. But then nothing until Juventus came with that project. So 2 years selling, ticketing, basically corporate seats, hospitality, and leading also the growth from the sport side of the club, because the last year we won the championship with Antonio Conte head coach, the first championship before other 8 in a row, but this is another story. And so after that peak, basically, of not just my career, but also the club point of view, I got an offer. And of course, another thing that I should underline in my path is that the connection, the people that I know, that I have met during my football career are the key milestones for my growth and also for my interior development as a human being. So this connection, learning from other countries, other experience, other people, other work, I think that it was really my best skill, learning from the others and then apply what I have learned. I have to thank also my mentor at Juventus, Ben Taverner, that was the head of the project. He worked in Wembley, in the redevelopment of Wembley. So he taught me all the skills, let's say the commercial skills to be successful in this job. So I'm jumping from a club to another, but it's also quite emotional for me going back with the memory, because unfortunately many years have been passed. So let's thinking about that period, was fantastic. But anyway, To move further, then with talking with clients, talking with people, talking with other people in football, I received a call from AS Roma that at the time was changing the ownership from the Italian CEST, the Italian company, to an American one. Mr. Pallotta was the owner at the time, with basically an amazing project at the Stadio Olimpico, and also in perspective with the potential new venue from the club. So I moved also, I jumped in my career from a sales position to a management one. So I became head of ticket sales. So basically I was in charge not just for the whole corporate hospitality products, but also to the general admission as well. So basically responsible for all the revenue generated by the Olimpico at the time. Probably the biggest part of my career at the moment, because I spent there 7 seasons, while in Juventus I spent 3 seasons, for a total of 10 years, consecutive years in the football world. Yeah. And then I have the amazing opportunity to work with people from all over the world. The club at the time was really international, participating to Champions League 3 times, and in Europa League other 3 times. So every year was a challenge also, because learning also from new experience. We reached a semi-final in the UCL in Champions League. That was the biggest, achievement at the time for the club. And it was also very challenging to deal with a crowd like the AS Roma fans, like very passionate. I would say that in Italy there are few fans like AS Roma, like they live for the club, they breathe for the club. So really shivers, because it was incredible, really incredible.
Yeah.
And then there I learned some commercial tricks as well, because then I have not just to deal with companies, with entrepreneurs, with owners, but I had to deal with fans, with true fans. So also price sensitive. So it was really a very complex experience. Yeah. But I would tell you that that 7th season was has been really a fundamental step in my career, because then again I have learned to deal with basically all the stakeholders during a football match. So from the Curva fan to the UEFA delegate, to the president, to the guests, to everyone. So really good experience.
And then finishing there in Roma, how did you go to Como?
Well, there was an intermediate experience. Well, basically after 10 years, I decided, because also it's quite stressful, especially working in Italy and working in stadium in Italy. It's very stressful because, as you may know, the stadia in Italy are not owned, apart from case like Juve and few others, are owned by the municipalities. So you don't have just to deal with the match day, but you have to deal also with the many additional stakeholders, also important, like the owner of this facility. So it was really stressful working 10 years in a row. Then I took a break. This break basically was in a sort of continuous of my career. So even though not directly related to a football club, I was involved in a project with a real estate group. It's named Gabetti Group, which is actually the biggest real estate group in Italy, listed in the Milan Stock Exchange. So all other sector, but the CEO, which is still the CEO of the group, gave me basically a department to improve, to manage. That was the sport department, where basically we tried to sell the feasibility study for the stadium, for the sporting center, of course, from a point of view related to the different departments within the group. So technical due diligence, economic and financial plan, financial advisor. So putting together all the expertise within the group and present and try to sell this package to mainly middle level club in terms of either competition or dimension. So not, of course, AC Milan, Inter, Juventus, etc., but like a medium-sized club. That was their target. So, year after year, I spent 3 years of my career there as a commercial director. And again, really, really tough project because it was a startup. So knocking on, municipalities' door and clubs' door saying, okay, we have this idea, we want to support you in an environment where, very, very money sensitive, budget sensitive. And yeah, was a huge challenge, probably the biggest challenge in my career, because it's something that basically you have to sell, you have to explain, very, very complicated. And also, as I told you before about the relationship with other stakeholders, there you have to learn also from the investor point of view. So while before I was thinking as the club, so on the field, so like to maximize the revenue and stuff like that, then I had to change my mindset and started to think like an investor. So every single money, every single euro, every single year, trying to get to the break-even as soon as we can. So very, very difficult, this mindset. But I can tell you that was a fundamental step to get to the level that I am now, because, again, I put my knowledge after 10 years in a football club experience, plus these 3 years on an investor's, let's say, point of view, like a developer. So that mix helped me to realize that probably in the future, so now, in Italy, a position like the one that I am here in Como now could have been really helpful for the good of the Italian football, for the system, because we have a big gap compared to UK, compared to US, compared to Germany or the other European nations, about facilities, about stadium, about sporting center. So this double, point of view helped me to become, in the club that I am now in Como. Then I'll explain it better if you want, about my actual position.
I do.
Yeah.
This is actually my my next question. But before that, you saw I showed some people already saying hi to you. There's Andrea Cavallari. I imagine he's in Italy, I suppose. Sylvain Ferry, Riccardo Nausti, also Pav, he's with us here every week. Good to see you, Pav. Always listening from Birmingham. I can see that there's many more people watching us or with us on LinkedIn. A few more on YouTube as well. So this is interactive. If you can let us know where you're watching from, this is great. And also prepare to ask your questions to Leo Rossi. Leo, yeah, so maybe now tell us a bit more about your work at Como 1907.
Yeah, and then after this experience in Gabetti Group, 3 years, again, getting back to talking with the clubs, entering in the stadium, field visit, stuff like that, I felt a bit melancholy, I was missing the pitch. I was missing a club, basically. So it happened, this opportunity in Como 1907. As you may know, we have a very, very strong and visionary ownership. And I'm very glad that they picked me from many competitors. And now I'm just 1 year. Yesterday, I spent 1 year in the club. I'm spending 1 year. This is the first year here. And we're basically, I'm in charge for the revenue, let's say, related to football real estate. So it means that I'm supposed to find all the revenue, the possible revenue streams amongst the sporting facilities, corporate hospitality, food and beverage, events, ticketing, whatever it require a boost.
What in that case? What are the main strategies? I mean, to employ and maximize revenue from the club's real estate assets.
Yeah, well, basically now we have the biggest challenge when we came here basically was to refurbish, to renovate the stadium in order to be ready to play in Serie A. So even though the chart last season was uncertain until the end, so we were not sure to be promoted, but we started in advance to plan how to be ready to play eventually in Serie A. And
because there were some requirements that needed for a Serie A club that you didn't have last year.
Exactly. To give you an idea,
like what?
The minimum capacity of a stadium for the Italian Serie A is 12,000 seats. Okay. When I came here in October, we were at 6,500. So we basically we wanted to double the capacity. Of course, because of the constraint of the timing, we found a way to manage with the 10,500 seats that in any way helped us to be admitted in the Serie A with a 1 year, let's say, 1 year time to then get to the normal minimum requirement that is 12,000. So basically in 3 months, we had to change the stadium from then 7,500 seats to 10,500 seats. And also the requirements are not just for the capacity, but for the floodlights, for the corporate hospitality, for the parking, for the changing room. So basically we have to dress up a stadium from scratch. And luckily, again, the ownership was very, very clear, very, very decisive. So we managed to play the first home match the 15th of September after 3 months of non-stop working. And it was very challenging, but luckily when you have an ownership that supports you in every side, then of course it's easier, even though the challenge was tough.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about the ownership that's been there for a few years now.
Yeah, the ownership is from Indonesia. They bought the club in 2019, where the club was in 4th division. So with a pragmatic investment from Serie D to Serie C, 3rd division, from 3rd division to 2nd division, Serie B, and the last year to Serie A. So you can see from this picture how clear the vision is, and it was. So our ownership said that we want to not to stop our dream and our vision to the Serie A, but we want to grow also. So now the challenge is to raise the bar and be ready for a club that is now pretends to be a top club in Italy, of course, step by step, first on the pitch, but straight away on the infrastructure point of view, stadium, sporting center, and of course in this vision, a key role is helping the club to get the revenue, the right amount of revenue from every facilities that is related to football, starting from the stadium and then from the sporting center. To give you an idea, last year we had in Serie B around 350 corporate hospitality seats. This season we have 850 seats. And of course, considering the dimension and the capacity of the actual venue, we had to move away with the hospitality. So we have 3 different locations outside the stadium. Of course, imagine that the stadium is in front of the lake. So it's an amazing spot. I would say one of the best stadium probably in the whole Europe in terms of location, in
Right.
the river in the
lake, by the lake.
Really by the lake. And of course, then we had to invent new revenue streams. So we open up 3 different locations, all lake view, where we host our premium guests, our sponsors, before the match. Because within the stadium, we have a limited amount of space to host the people. So we basically, we run during the match day 5 different locations. So not just the 2 within the stadium, but also the 3 outside the stadium. So imagine the effort, imagine the amount of people, the cost, of course, because all these venues are lake view. So we want to also give to our sponsor, to our fans, to our premium guests. We want to give the best in the whole nation in terms of course, of experience. And this is another milestone that we want to reach as soon as we can. Of course, again, step by step, because as from the sports side, we cannot, Rome wasn't built in a day. So every step is important to cement, to give a solid base, to then grow and do whatever basically we want to do in the future.
And how the location there actually then helps you, because Giuseppe Sinigallia, right? The name of the stadium. And that's owned by the city of Como?
The municipality, correct.
The municipality of Como. So it's a historic venue, as you're saying, but you have this unique location and heritage. So how can you leverage that location to help you generate revenues?
Well, of course, we are thinking to a full redevelopment project about the stadium. I cannot really speak about that, but it's a fundamental step that we are already looking for. So we are studying, we have already done some very, very important steps to present our concept for a new venue. Of course, within the actual site, because we don't really want to change that opportunity that is unique. So having many square meters available in front of the lake to create our and to realize our dream, our vision, our ownership vision. So this is the vision, the point that we want to reach in the near future. But in the meantime, we don't want to stay just to watch a game. We want to help our fans to live and enjoy the game before the match, not just with the hospitality, but also for let's say, general admission fans. We have internalized the food and beverage that, I don't want to be wrong, but I don't know any other clubs in Serie A that have the general admission food and beverage point of sale internalized instead of giving to a third companies. So even in this specific area, revenue related, we are forerunners. So in every idea and everything that can come from this specific mix of the stadium in an amazing location, a small size stadium at the moment, but we want to maximize the experience from the fans, because imagine that also to reach the stadium during a match day is not that easy, because there are no parking spaces. So you have to organize yourself in advance. So in order to help our fans to come early at the stadium, because not to queuing in front of the turnstiles, to enter in a nice and relaxed queue, then we provide all the possible option to enjoy. So last game, we have a live of an Italian artist named Gue Pequeño, who basically did a live at the stadium. And then also this offer of food and beverage that is not just, the chips, but it's like a proper food with the top of the quality that we can produce, that we can deliver. So all this attention to the fan is also related to another milestone of the ownership, that is linking with the Como community. So everything has to be in Como, has to be linked to Como, because the strength of Como 1907 is the city, the people, the fans. So everything that is for fans everything that it can be a good experience for fans.
Right. And to do that project, did you research many other sort of cases of other clubs? Did other clubs did something similar? What can you tell?
Also, it's funny though, because even the dimension of the city is a medium size, so 83,000 inhabitants. Once that we got promoted, everything was like a snowball, quick and fast. So first milestone, the stadium being ready for Serie A, but also the commercial aspects, as I mentioned, hospitality, food and beverage. So I really didn't have much time to look around to see the best practice. I just learned from my experience, my background, and also thanks to the many stadia that I have visited during my years. I tried, to collect the infos that I needed, and then boom, realized this tiny, startup internalizing, for example, 8 points of sales by scratch. So from June to September.
And the club so far, the season is at the beginning, but it's doing okay, no?
Well, I don't know. You were making fun of me about my football player career, before I heard you. Jokes apart, I'm not really into.
I wasn't making fun. You're good. We play together. You're a good player.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, I'm not that into the sport area, the sport sector of the club. But I know our head coach, Cesc Fabregas, really, I don't need to tell you who he is, and his vision and the way he plays football and how he teaches football. And so I sleep on a very, very comfortable pillow, if I can say so, because the quality of his football to me is amazing. So I'm not really concerned about that. Of course, Serie A is a tough championship, especially if you probably have to fight for middle position. You have to face yourself versus club with many years in Serie A. Our last Serie A appearance was in 2002, 2003, if I remember well. So we're talking about 21 years ago. Right. So we need to find our way. That I'm confident.
You just had a home victory, right? I think was the first one, and I think was that same day as well. There was a very nice tribute to Michael Gendler, right? Who I think was the first CEO there.
Exactly.
Also, common alumni from the Masters. That was very nice to see.
How small is the world? You see? Yeah. Michael was the first CEO of the actual ownership. Yeah, he launched basically the view, the path. So it was the same.
And for us to move now from the club, just maybe to wrap up on that topic, what is say the club's long-term vision? How do you see that to be competing in Europe sometime soon, or what can you tell?
Yeah, this was one of the statements of our ownership that. Sooner or later, we want to compete also in Europe. So this is the level of the challenge that we are facing now. So quite tough, but we have all the resources. We have all the also the dreams. We have all the vision also all the tools to get to that level. So probably it's just a matter of time. Still step by step. So now we have to, be in a safe position on the chart, and then step by step. But this is the vision. And of course, with this vision, there's the infrastructure point of view. So as I told you before, we are going to present a project for a new venue with all the modernity, with all the comfort, with all the technology, because again, as you know, football is becoming entertainment. It is a good mix about the good old school of fans who come to cheer at the club, but also we need to be ready to give a nice and safe, of course, environment, but also with some cool entertainment, and not just the match day. All the season, all the week, all the day, all day, it should be related in a certain way, to Como 1907. So this is we want to think that way. And we don't want to leave anything, on the street. We just want to have a global vision, of course, in a local city like Como.
And Leo, one thing, one aspect that I think our audience might be interested, since I work in sport, is to know, how is the club as a place to work?
Well, it's the adrenaline that you have when you work for a club is unique. And of course, I told you before, when I was, changing from football club to a proper listed company, then this adrenaline is different, of course. But then you have the weekend free, something that you don't have here, because basically one weekend, the other more or less, because then there are away games. Why don't go to Naples to watch the game? So it's a 7 days work, at least mentally. But again, the adrenaline to work for a football club is unique. Once that you feel it, once that you have in your blood, in your veins, it's difficult to live for another. This is also because I am a real passionate about football in any form. Not just the Champions League, but also the fourth division, the amateur that I was in many years. So I'm really 360. To me, football is.
But tell us, like, how big or how small, for instance, is the club in terms of number of employees, for instance, working? Maybe even taking the players out, more the administration, everything else in the club, from marketing, legal, operations, all that. And maybe compared, because you work in other very big clubs before, like Roma and Juventus. Mm-hmm. So just for us to have a sense of the size of the club.
Juventus at the time, we were around 450. Roma at the time, we were 350, more or less. And here we are 100, more or less. Thinking about that, when I came here in October, we were 25. So imagine the growth ratio that this club is having in few months. So now we are almost 100.
It grew 3 times in less than 1 year.
So but the requirements and also the vision that we have, of course, has to pass through these steps. So maybe a tiny department like mine at the beginning now is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, in order to produce what they want. So like proper revenue in a proper environment.
So are there like opportunities then for people that would like to go and work with the club? What advice can you give in that sense?
There are, I think on LinkedIn we post a new job opportunity every week at this ratio. So it's unique, I think, in the at least Italian football at this time. Again, the requirements are probably a passion, really, for what you do, like marrying the club, marrying the vision of the ownership, because it's a totalizing experience here. You basically are thinking about Como and about the stadium every day, every hours. It's how can I say? Totalizzating. I don't know if it's a word in English. It's totalizzante in Italiano. It's you have to bring this to the club, because we need it to grow. So this is the first step. Then, of course, the expertise and the skills are the second, if not the first, of course, tools and that you have to provide to the club.
Do you know what are the skills that are most in demand there? Maybe in the club or even in the industry, in football clubs in general, whenever people come and ask you, do you know what are the skills that are most in demand?
Of course, an experience, a previous experience in a football club is very, very helpful, because once that you work for a football club, the rhythm, the tasks, you know how it works, let's say, but it's not really necessary. Probably here, because the club is, of course, multicultural, we have many different nations. So another thing is probably having a path that put you in touch with different background, with different people, with different cultures. This is very important because then you can bring to the club not just your working experience, maybe having worked in another club, but for example, having studied in an international environment, knowing how it works in UK, in German. So probably these two skills are, in my view, are pretty relevant. And then, of course, if you are an IT, or you have to have, the.
Yeah, of course. If we talk about you, Leo, and thinking about not only the job that you're doing now with Como, but previously, even when you first started in football with Juventus and Roma, what you think were the skills that allowed you to have success in your career?
Well, first of all, when I started the FIFA Master, 2007, 2008, there were no managerial culture in Italian football because the majority of the clubs were basically a family-owned business. Thinking about Moratti, Agnelli, Berlusconi, Lotito, Sensi. So I kind of tested. Also, I bet about myself. So probably these feature of me, the idea of being always a forerunner in something, or try to experiment new vision, new ideas, new concept, new way, helped me a lot. And at the time, again, no really managerial culture in the Italian football. I was probably one of the first manager brought by a master, there are many, but at this level, because of course the club were owned by families, and then foreigner ownership changed, of course, the rule, bringing the managerial mentality also in the corporate part of the club. And then, in 20 years, there are all of the corporate, let's say, part of the clubs that have to have also probably a master, an MBA related to sport. So in that way, probably myself, I was a forerunner, if I can say so.
Yeah. We have Jordan watching from India, and he asked a couple of questions that I think you addressed. One was how he can work at the club. So Leo just explained that, and there's they post on LinkedIn opportunities all the time. I imagine that you need to speak Italian, right? Or do you have some people that would work in English only?
Yeah. No. There's you can work in English. Yeah. Depending, of course, if you have to deal
depending
with
on the role.
Yeah, probably you have to speak a bit of Italian, But many other roles, it's not mandatory. Of course, it's a good help.
Yeah, and he asks a question that I was going to ask you as well. It's asking if graduation is important for sports management job. I want to ask you more or less the same thing. What is the importance of formal education in a role like yours?
Yeah, well, it's definitely important. I mean, in my personal experience, the FIFA Master experience, the FIFA Master year was the key of my sport career, because again, then you have the opportunity not just to perfection. I came from an economic background, but at the master I perfectionate some aspects of sport business, sport marketing, revenue, commercial. So that part really helped me to, let's say, finish the details of my background. So to me, I recommend to at least follow a path that involve 1 year or less in an environment that can really help you to define these details of your skills, of your education, if I can say so.
Yeah, I mean, I want you to tell us then a bit more about then your experience there at the Master. What is it that you like, what that you like the most? As I said at the beginning, um, they're just opened applications now, so Jordan may be looking at it, might be interested. There is a QR code here if they want to go onto their application page. Yeah, if you can tell us a bit more. For me, it was fantastic, but I talk about that all the time, right?
Yeah.
But maybe tell us about your experience.
Yeah, trying to be as much professional as I can. I mean, that year was fantastic, because imagine that me as an Italian, a mama boy, I spent 1 year basically having dinner and having lunch and studying with 22 different people coming from 22 different nations. So the level of the learnings, the level of the skills that I simply I learn from them, not just from like how can I say, from a working point of view, but also from a human point of view, because the key is the empathy. So especially working in revenue, I need to understand what the fan wants, how much he's willing to pay. So I need to be in his shoes. To do this, you have to know people. And the best way is, imagine having so many different cultures around you and so many different point of view, and just listening and learning, it's enough. And of course, the let's say the methodology, I didn't speak a lot about, especially because I've been past don't know how many years, but too much, but so I don't remember really well. But jokes apart, also the education, the path, so the modules, the humanities module, the law module, the management module, so are very, very important, because again, the close your path. I'm sure that for everyone is the same. So to me personally, I really enjoyed the multicultural. I really enjoy learning from the other experience. It was really my best gift.
Yeah, I agree with you. I did a few years before you, although it looks like I did many years before you. And yeah, what I would say is the experience, as you were describing, I think is the best thing. Having all these classmates from different parts of the world and all that. And people sometimes they ask me all the time if they should do a master's, like that. And sometimes they ask me if they should do a master's like that to start working in sport. And normally my answer is, if you want to do a master's only to find a job in sports, then probably shouldn't do it, because there's a cheaper and faster ways to do that, right? But if you really want to enjoy the whole experience, traveling with countries and the visits, and then the other thing that it gives us as well is, after graduation, you're kind of still connected to all that. So yeah, we're talking here.
It happened to me. It happened to me. I'm the case. Like one of my colleagues, one of my classmates, helped me to find the job, starting my sporting career. So the network.
Who was that, by the way?
Yair.
Grande. Yair Sher.
I think he didn't even know what he did for me. I tried.
Now he knows. Now he knows.
I told him many times, but he's okay. One of the many, his style. Jokes apart, yeah, I have to really thank him, and especially the network, because could have been him or another guy, but the network that we create, even with the previous editions, alumni like you and all the others, it's a very, very, very strong bond amongst all of us. So it's a family. It's a family. And this is the way, I mean, it happened to me personally. So better than me to explain my personal, experience, there's no one. So really, I am in this business thanks to FIFA Master, thanks to the alumni, a bit of thanks to my coach.
Yeah, hard work.
Capa tosta.
And listen, Leo, we're going towards the end here with just about 5 minutes to go. I want to ask you then, since you've been working in sport and all that, what is your favorite sporting moment?
Sport?
A sporting moment. I mean, what is your favorite sporting moment? Sei un appassionato dello sport, so.
Well, I would say, looking at the fans. Is it a good answer?
No, of course not. I'm thinking. I thought they were going to say the Italy winning the World Cup, or Como going to Serie A, or.
No. When you see the fans chanting the colors, it makes my day. So I can be wherever. I can be in 4th division. No, I'm not joking. I'm seriously. But if I, look at them, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, like in Roma, 14,000, chanting the same chorus at the same time with the same shivers. I mean, this is the reason that I am here, because that it makes my day. So this is the best one. Wherever, and unfortunately, I'm talking about just football. But yeah, because the crowd in football to me is special. But many sports give the same feeling, of course. Yeah, maybe Italy won the World Cup. Not that bad, but yeah.
Very good, very good. Listen, and usually the last one that I ask my guests here is if they have a book or a podcast or a YouTube channel, anything that they would like to recommend to the audience.
Well, actually, I would say a book. Because also not just going to the stadia all around Europe, etc., but I love to read about fans, about passion, about this type of craziness that also fans can do, not always nice in a nice way. So a season with Verona,
Okay.
Theme Parks, probably, is it? And then another one is No One Like Us, We Don't Care. There is a book about Millwall fans. So
Millwall, yeah, okay.
Yeah, not just to enjoy, but also to understand how we came into this football world, where we have been through, what we have been through, the hooliganism. So it's not just a nice and smooth lecture. It's tough, it's challenging. So basically, all the books related to hardcore fans and the transition will help me also because I love it, but also to understand the possible future next movement, and that's it. So I would say book like that.
That's a great one, or great ones. I'm actually going to take notes and put in the description of the video later on. Leo. Mille grazie. There's a message here from Federico Mani as well. He feels emotional.
Guys, sorry for my
listening
English.
To you.
Come on. Sorry for my English. Come on. I'm Italian. I need to speak Italian to give 100%.
No. He loved it. And so did I. So thanks a lot for doing that. Congratulations on your journey, on the work. I'm a bit sad that you won't be joining us at FIFA tomorrow for the yearly game. You're undefeated, right?
Yeah. Good to underline it. I am undefeated. So
yeah. So we were hoping to win again. We lost. We won last time when you were there, 21, and we lost 22 and 23.
Oh, at least I bring wherever I go, I bring luck. Juve won the championship, Roma, UCL semi-final, Como promoted. So that's
very good. Very
keep
good.
The momentum,
I'll send you the train tickets. Hopefully you make it. Mirko, so thanks a lot. I'm gonna end this. Thanks for everyone to send the comments. You have many fans. Forza Como. You have many fans out there, Leo. And let me just finish that. And we're here. I think we're not here next week, but probably in a couple of weeks. All right. Bye everyone. Ci vediamo.
Ciao a tutti.
Stay there, Leo, a few more seconds until it's finished. Okay. Bye.
Ciao.